Alright, we are going to do a firewall tutorial here, cover a little bit of the basics of the Cisco iOS firewall. What we have here is, if you've watched my previous tutorials, this should be easy for you. We have two, I believe there's 3725s. Yep, and they are both running, and they are connected with just an FA cord. And right now they should not have any configurations on them. Now for a little bit of terminology here, with Cisco, when they say inbound and outbound for access control lists, what they mean is a little bit different from what you might expect. Inbound it's all relative to the router itself. Inbound is always into the router, outbound is always out of the router. So if we said we want to apply an ACL on inbound traffic on the internal router, on FA00, it would go for traffic that was traveling into the router, into your network, which makes sense. But if we say we wanted inbound on FA01, that would mean into the router itself, not exiting the actual, network. So that's some of the simple terminology that might trip you up. Alright, next we're going to do a simple setup of the routers. Go ahead and console into both of them. 3 and 4. And for the internal router, first we are going to do host name internal. Then we're going to do interface FA0/0. IP add, let's just make it easy, do 12, 12, 12, 12, 255, 255, 255.0, /24 just to make it easy, then do a no shut, and that should be up and running, and that'll pop up with, and now for the external, we are going to enable conf t, hostname external, interface FA0/0, IP add 12, 12, 12, 13, I believe. Yes. 255, 255, 255.0. No shut. Alright. Up. And let's take a look at this. Alright. Alright, that's up and running. What we're going to test now is make sure that this other one can reach it. Alright. Good, we have connectivity between both routes. Alright, if this were a production environment, we would want to do several other things, such as securing, adding a password, securing virtual terminal lines, telnet, etc., etc., etc. However, since that's just going to be a waste of time, I'm going to go ahead and get us started here. Alright, now for denying access, let's say we're going to deny access from 12, 12, 12, 15. We don't want that getting into our internal network. So, essentially, access lists are in the conf t. After we configure terminal mode is where they're entered, and basically it's a CCESS access list, and then the access list number, and after the number of the access list, which is no big deal. If it's 1, doesn't mean it comes before. There's no differences. It's just an arbitrary number that you choose. And then we have the deny or permit. So we're either denying or allowing that packet through. And then the source, which is the IP address, so 12, 12, 12, 15 in this case. So, what we're going to do here is pull up the internal one, And we're going to go ahead and do enable conf t, and then we're going to do access list, and let's just call this 1, and we're going to do deny source of 12, 12, 12, 15. Alright. And once I spell that right, it'll work. Alright, great. So, that's step 1. The second step is applying this. And since we don't want it to go, we don't want it to be an outbound thing, we don't want to mess around with the packet. We don't have to, it's just going to drop it right at the FA00 interface as it's going in. So, essentially what we're going to do is interface FA0/0, and what we're going to do next is apply it by doing IP ACCESS access group 1 and in. So essentially I just applied inward bound on that. I applied the access list on FA00. And that should deny any traffic from 12, 12, 12, 15. And that's the simple access control list. It's just the basic IP-ACL. There is, for more complex situations, something called an extended IP access control list. Those get a little bit more in depth. They allow a lot more configuration. And we will be covering that in the next part of this tutorial, hopefully. Alright, for the second part of the tutorial, we have a little bit of different setup to better test some of the principles we are going to be applying here. We have the same routers set up pretty much the same, except now we have an internal client and an external client to test firewall rules. Alright, what we have here is not technically what an internet setup would be correctly, but to simplify, this is what we have. We have 12, 12, 12, 12, and 12, 12, 12, 13 connecting the two routers, and then on this one we have 172.18.10.1 and 172.17.10.1. Now the internal client is going to be this local machine. Right now I'm disconnected from the internet just to make things easier so I don't have to mess around with multiple gateways, and I am instead hooked up to this router. And my external client here is actually going to be this Server 2003 virtual machine. If we go ahead and take a look, 172.18.10.2, so this is .1 on the router, .2 on the client. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and test connectivity. I did go ahead and set up routes on everything, so that it's just static routes, just to make things easy. We're going to go ahead and ping 172.17.10.1, and we get a response back. Alright, and we're going to pull up my local, and it might be a little small for you guys to see, but we're basically just ping 172.18.10.1, or .2, sorry, 18.10.2, and we also get a response from that as well. So we're able to ping from end to end, which is great, and we'll take a quick look at the running configs. We're going to do show run, and blah blah, the same usual stuff, and interface FA00, 12.12.12/24, and 172.17.10.1 also /24, nothing special. The IP route showing default gateway. I should have just done, instead of 12.12.12.13, should have done FA00, it's a lot easier in a production environment, etc, 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 etc. And then for the external,